Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's AMA. Super excited for this one. We think this is going to be a bigger one. We'll get started in just 1 minute here, but let me lay out the land here. So if you have any questions, please throw them in our Discord general chat and tag the community team, and we will get to them shortly. We keep track of all the questions we get in another channel, so make sure you're tagging one of us. And then, of course, we would love to have you come up on stage here on Twitter and ask any questions you might have. So please request to speak if you'd like, and we'll get started soon. Okay, let's get started. Luke, do you want to kick us off here?
Let's do it. Yeah, no, I'm super excited to be here today, guys. I couldn't be more excited with where we're at with the project, what's coming up, and then the progress that we've seen in the last even week is insane. So I want to give a big shout out to the team for the amount of work they've been putting in. It's really starting to show and pay off, and I think people are finally noticing. So a big shout out to the dev team, to the artists, all of that for putting everything together. It's been so cool to see all these pieces come together. What you guys are seeing, what you guys haven't even seen yet. The company is moving at such an insane speed. Again, that's probably our biggest advantage. This team is highly technical. This team is working insanely hard. I really don't think there's a team that's working harder in Web3 right now, especially for as long as this team has been working operational together. It really feels like we're on all cylinders, and I just feel like we're in such a strong position right now where it's super fun. So again, welcome to all of you new users. We've had an insane influx of new users in the last week. And we haven't even really been pushing that. It's really all because of you guys, this community. This project is growing. So I'm really glad that we got the referral system in last week because you guys have been helping us grow, and you guys are also getting rewarded for it too. So it's really a win-win for everybody here, and you guys are kind of seeing the fruits of that effort. And the awesome thing about growth is that it's typically exponential. So we're literally just at the very beginning of all this growth push that we've been doing. And we'll probably see even greater returns on growth pretty soon. So that means new users, new faces, and more competition for the airdrop as well too. So overall, we're really excited with where things are at. We've seen a huge uptick in usage. I think I posted some stats on the Pixels Twitter earlier today. We saw 7,000 players play the game yesterday, which, if you guys know the space at all, that puts us at a higher DAU than most of the really big projects that you're seeing out there. That's really important to us. A month ago, I sent out an investor update to our internal venture-backed investors. And I said, hey, we have two goals before we're trying to do this play to airdrop. We want to hit 40,000 followers on Twitter, and we want to hit 10,000 DAU. And it looks like we're going to crush that out of the water. We still have a time left in the play to airdrop. It's looking like we're going to have about a month of this left. Again, we'll gamify it. We'll make it fun. We have a few other things that are shipping out to spice things up over the course of the next month at least. But yeah, it looks like we're going to crush those numbers out of the water and have a really, really healthy token ecosystem when we drop the token. So if you guys are new here, if you guys haven't seen the project before, I'll just give a high-level overview of what we're doing again to kind of get you up to speed with what we're building at Pixels, what the goal is, what the vision is, and what you can expect over the next month as we are doing what we call a play to airdrop. So one, I'm going to give you the one-liner of what Pixels is. Pixels is building basically blockchain-backed Farmville, but also we haven't just been building that. What we've really been doing here is we've also been building tooling and infrastructure to make our own game, but we're also opening that up to other games. So over the next month and a half, we are putting the final touches on our own game that we've been building, this blockchain-backed version of Farmville, but then also the final touches on other games too. So we've been working with other projects to bring them onto our ecosystem, and that's what you see from New Cyber and Gridcraft. We've also been talking to a bunch of other projects too. So we have a play to airdrop going on. How this play to airdrop is we're actually introducing 2 tokens into our ecosystem initially. We have a 2 token model to our tokenomics. That's really, really important. We have 1 token that we're going to be dropping when we release the blockchain-backed version of our beta. It's called Berry. And Berry is going to be the main currency in this game, the Farmville game that we're making, essentially Pixel's first title that we're building out. We have our whole dev team, art team completely focused on. So this is going to be the currency that kind of gets you progress through the game. And it will really be the only necessary currency to interact with the game. What we've also been doing is prepping work for a second token too. And that's going to be a hard currency. And I can kind of go into the explanation of what a soft currency and a hard currency means. This hard currency, the second currency that we're dropping, is going to be called Pixel. And the unique thing about Pixel is it's really only for cosmetic upgrades or ways to kind of speed up progress. you shouldn't need Pixel to complete anything in the game, but it should help you either move quicker or get some cool upgrades. Essentially, what we're going to do with this Pixel token is kind of like the Clash of Clans model, or borrowed from a lot of other games. So this is how games typically monetize, actually. They give you a free experience that's still real and that gets you hooked into the ecosystem. And then they have a second experience where you can actually purchase things that aren't necessary for gameplay, but maybe make it feel a bit nicer, make it feel a bit better. And that's what we're planning to have the Pixel token be for. So the really, really unique thing about the Pixel token, though, is we're actually trying to create a network effect from this token. So this Pixel token will actually be available in any game that we onboard into the ecosystem. So it's not just going to be for this blockchain-backed version of Farmville that we're making, but it'll also operate and do the same exact thing in this other ecosystem that we're creating. So the Gridcraft projects, the new cyber projects, and any other project that we're onboarding into the ecosystem. The idea is we want this token to be exposed to as many users as we can get, and we want to create a strong network effect of this token. The reason why we're doing this is typically you see in games a bump in usage and a decline in usage. And that's really, really common for games. Not every game is like Clash of Clans. Not every game is like Fortnite. Not every game is like Duty. And even in Call of Duty and Madden, you see this as well too. So these popular games go through their same boom and bust cycle. But typically how a game works is you'll get a ton of usage for a couple months and then usage drops down. That's not so great when you're trying to monetize off of a token and when you want to have a token to use for a really long time. So we've actually seen that a lot with blockchain games right now, where these tokens that you come and see in this play-to-earn ecosystem, they'll buzz for like a couple months, and then they'll really, really drop in usage, and they'll drop in expected value provided. One thing that does in a current tokenomics system, if you see games like Axie Infinity, they get a ton of usage, their token price soars, and because their token is so closely tied to their game loop, when their token price drops, they actually see a huge drop in players. That's not good. That's why we want to do the two token system. We want to have Berry be the key currency that gets you in and gets you playing the game, and that Pixel be that token that doesn't affect gameplay. So that's why we're thinking about that. So the play to airdrop, essentially, what's this all about? How does this tie into that? The play to airdrop is what we're doing to initially seed the economy with both of these tokens. If you go to pixels.xyz/airdrop, you get to go to this really cool thing that we built out, an airdrop. And this airdrop dashboard will kind of show you all of the progress you've made in our game. We have 3 different criteria that we've been looking at to give you points into the game, or points to the airdrop. So the criteria that we want to reward most are people who have been holding land for a while. That shows that you guys have been very dedicated to this project, that you guys really like what we're building, and we want to reward you for that. So we track the amount of land that's actually held in your wallet currently, and then we also track how long you've held it. So we kind of have passive staking into this ecosystem. We'll talk more about staking later, maybe. We don't completely believe in staking in the long term of this ecosystem, but right now it's a good way to gauge, hey, how were you in what we were building? And, do you like what we're doing so far? So the second thing we want to reward is people who play the game. That's the biggest thing to us. If we want to build a long-term project and have long-term success, we need people to be playing the game, and we want to reward people who are here and helping us make an even better game. We love all the comments and feedback that you're giving us about the gameplay right now. What I can tell you is, love that you guys love the game right now. We want to make this game a legitimate game that people who know nothing about play to earn, nothing about blockchain would still play too. So that's what we're striving for. So we know we're not quite there yet with the game that you're playing. And if you guys like it, that's amazing. But what we're saying is, oh, that's great that you like it now. We want to make a much, much better game, and we're intending to ship a much, much better game when we release this blockchain-backed beta. So the idea is we want to reward people who are playing this game and helping us build an even better game. When you guys are on our servers, when you guys are giving us feedback, that's extremely valuable to us. Most games are in the position where they actually get feedback from users like this. So extremely valuable to us. And then the third thing that we want to reward is sharing the game. So essentially, we want to make sure that other people see this game and that we have a healthy token ecosystem when we actually release the token. That's a really hard and tricky thing to do. But for us, a healthy token ecosystem essentially relies on people playing the game and a sufficient number of people playing the game. So people need to go out and see this project. So these are the 3 criteria that we're looking at when we think about these airdrop points and what we want to reward. Let me just repeat that again. Land ownership, playing the game, and sharing. And the idea is we want to kind of reward the top people of each of these categories to about the same level, so you'll receive about the same airdrop. Because to us, those 3 core pillars are the most important thing over the next month and a half. So if you guys have been following this project for a long time, you guys know that I'm obsessed with a token rather than NFTs and rather than all. And this is the thing that we really think is going to move the needle and turn this project into the next level. This token that we're releasing, Pixel especially, it's been this vision that's been in place for over a year. We're finally getting to that point. So there's going to be a lot with that token, whole token generation event and kind of stuff like that. You guys are going to get more logistics and more information on that in the future. But just note, this is what we think is the future of Pixel. So the reality is some of your value of your land might be transferred over into this token if you've been holding it for a long time. But a key thing about the tokenomics in the future too is we're really considerate of how do we still make land worth it in the initial stages of our game. Like why should you hold it? Why should you be a part of it? So part of the reason to hold land right now is obviously we have this awesome game coming into the market pretty soon that's going to be blockchain backed. But the next stage of things too is the initial generation of this pixel token. The team is keeping it really simple. There's going to be very, very basic rules to generate this token. And essentially what it'll amount to is the only way to generate the pixel token and to receive the pixel token once the game is live will be looked at around land usage. So it's only going to go to landowners in a generation event or in the initial stages of our tokenomics early on. If you guys read the white paper, you can get more detail to how we plan on distributing the token in the long term. Essentially how it works is we add a fixed increase of the supply each day. So there'll be 100,000 tokens that go out into the ecosystem each day. Those tokens will get sent to a multi-sig wallet, and the multi-sig wallet will have to approve where all these tokens go. So essentially what we're doing is we're deciding where the tokens go off-chain, but the approval needs to be on-chain. So eventually it's something that can be determined by a DAO or a more decentralized way. Early on, as majority holders of a token or majority holders of the ecosystem, and before we have a governance token, the Pixel team gets to call the shots. So you have to give some level of trust that we're going to distribute these tokens in a fair way, but it also allows us to change and tweak the token distribution and respond to community feedback and all of that very quickly as well. The key thing here is we want it to do well, just like you guys want it to do well. We plan on monetizing off of this token. I love the Web3 monetization ideas, and that's how we intend to stay here in the long term through this token. So we have the same interests as in that regard. The interests are very, very aligned. So the token will be distributed basically to landowners who have their land used more. We like that a lot more than staking, and it kind of it encourages good use of the ecosystem. The way to make sure that this token is healthy as possible is, if you guys look at their white paper, we have a lot of details on this too, is the token needs to get used for the intended use of the game. So we want to make sure this token is getting into the hands of people who are playing the game and who are dedicated to the game and who actually are interested in what we're doing with that. Now, all that being said, that means that we need to make land very searchable, accessible, discoverable, all of that too. The interesting thing too is that one of the key loops of the game early on is the pixel token will also help make your land more discoverable. So that's kind of a sync that we can use for that token besides just cosmetics. So there's interesting stuff there that we're doing with that. We want to use the land. The more people you have using your land, the more of that token you'll get, and you'll be able to use that token to make it more discoverable as well too. So interesting game theory with all that kind of stuff, in addition to cosmetics and such for other users. So excited about that. That's kind of the initial tokenomics there. And we couldn't be more excited about this. So there's going to be so many logistics moving up to this airdrop. I think one other thing that we should address, just to make it really clear and transparent about what we're doing, is we do see some bot activity in the game. It's actually not bad compared to most other games. It's looking quite good compared to some other reports that you might have seen in the play-to-earn space. So a lot of the play-to-earn games right now are much easier to bot because they are just interact, like a lot of the bots are just interacting with contracts directly. So it's super, super easy to bot some play-to-earn games. All the big ones that you guys know, like if they have contracts on chain, makes it incredibly easy to bot. What's good about our game is most of our logic is server side. So there are some protections there. We have seen a few people try to write scripts for these mechanics we've written, and just note that we know who they are. The whole idea of creating a healthy token ecosystem is that we don't want people who don't care about what we're building to have this token. It's in our own interest, just like yours, to make sure that we're extremely on top of this. And I don't know if you guys saw my tweet today. I just posted a quote from Sun Tzu. I just want to assure you guys essentially that we are on top of it. We know. And the idea behind our protection against bots is we don't want to show our hand too much. Just a funny tweet saying, I just read The Art of War. Anyone that tries to beat or bot/game the Pixels Online airdrop is screwed. But there is some truth to that. Um, Sun Tzu quote: "Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall thunderbolts." So the idea is, yeah, we know what the bots are. We're flagging them on our back end, and if you're not botting, there's something to worry about. Essentially, before the play to airdrop ends, we'll close it off for a week before the airdrop. We will let everybody know who we flagged as bots. Hey, we suspect you to be a bot, and you'll have about a week to appeal. But if you are botting, you are going to be blacklisted from the airdrop and potentially blacklisted from the game in its entirety. So again, the idea behind all of what we're doing here is we want to make sure that we have a healthy token ecosystem, sustainable token ecosystem, and it's really on one, rewarding people who are playing the game and making sure that everybody who has a token cares about developing this ecosystem in the long term. People who are botting clearly don't. So what other updates can I give? Yeah, again, amazing stats and usage over the last week, amazing growth. You guys have no idea how much excitement and how much energy this growth has given the team. If you guys thought the team was working hard before, just seeing people on something that you built, it's an incredible feeling. And this has really motivated the team. So keep playing. Like the more that you guys play, the more excited and the more stoked this team is going to be, and the better quality game you guys are going to get. It's crazy. We feel such an insane obligation and an insane duty to all of you guys playing the game to build you guys the best game that we can build. So you guys are really helping this team just by being here, just by getting excited about things. So keep it up. Compliment the team. Don't just compliment me. Say, hey, devs, you're doing an amazing job. Hey, artists, I love this art. Like that gets them so excited. Whenever I see something in a Discord channel saying, hey, this art looks amazing, this game is beautiful, I always send it directly to the artist because that's the best thing that I can hear. It's just such a nice thing to do. So yeah, show some love to this entire team, not me. Show it to Heidi, show it to the rest of the artists, show it to the devs, because the amount of work they've been putting into this project is insane. And you guys are all seeing the fruits of that. So I guess, yeah, we couldn't be more excited to have you all here. Again, we're sitting at about 7,000 people that played the game yesterday. We're seeing over 2 sessions a day per the average user, and like about 11 minutes of playtime for the users. Those are pretty good metrics, and we're pretty happy with all of that.
Okay, we have so many questions. It's insane. But there is one thing I wanted you to address first, because it's a question that I received a lot of earlier today and in the past few days, and that is about item transfer and blockchain backing and all of that. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Oh, yeah. So what's awesome about blockchain backing our game is we kind of get item transferring and item trading for free. So how our game will work is there will be like a deposit and withdrawal system. So we're doing a lot on custodial wallets in order to interact with the game. We think this is the best game experience for all of you guys. That way, you don't have to ever sign gas or transactions in order to play the game, and then you kind of get to withdraw what you want when you want. So if you don't trust too many assets being a custodial wallet, that's fine. Withdraw your hoard of coins, keep them in a ledger, do whatever you want with it. But that way, when you actually interact with the game, you don't need to pay any gas. You don't need to sign anything. You just play the game. At the end of the day, user experience to us is one of the most important things when it comes to building a blockchain game. The state of user experience in the space right now is very bad. And it's funny because all of us are so deep into Web3, we sometimes forget that. But you need to like remember the first time you installed a MetaMask, how intimidating was that? Games are so used to hyper optimizing every single piece of the game funnel. It's crazy. You guys look into the game industry, how it typically operates is like games will spend about like $1 million on game development and then like $60 million in advertisements, like a month sometimes even. And what they do is they look at every single interaction between you looking at an ad and you getting in a game. And they want to make sure that every percent is as optimized and fine-tuned as possible, where it's like you click on this ad, you go in the game, you start playing the game immediately, all that. They fine-tune it. And then Web3 games, you come in here and you need Matic, you need MetaMask, you need to get Ethereum, you need a KYC. It's insane, that user experience. So we're trying to minimize any of that as much as possible. So the idea behind keeping things in custodial wallets when you're playing the game makes that experience 1,000 times better than not. So the idea with all of this is you'll basically be able to like withdraw and deposit assets between any hot wallet that you have and these custodial wallets, and it's going to be a somewhat seamless experience. We're trying to make that experience gas free even. So we're trying to make that withdrawal and deposit gas free. We'll see if the gas free part comes in chapter 1. That might be an optimization that we do later. But essentially, if we do that, we can't even stop trading. So that's also going into the game design too. We're thinking about a lot of ways that we can play with scarcity in the game design. For example, really limited items, really limited recipes, things like that as well. And that's kind of a fun part of the game design. So we have to kind of assume that any item in your inventory that you have could be traded, and the game design has to account for that. So with that too, we're also going to be we're going to try to get UI out for player-to-player trading in the game as well. Hopefully that's coming chapter 1. That might be one of those things where we don't hit it, we release it like a couple weeks after chapter 1. But either way, when the game is blockchain backed, we can't stop trading.
Okay, let's hop into questions here. And once again, if you have any questions, throw them in our general chat and make sure you're tagging the community team, because we moved into another channel just so that we can keep track of them all, because we have a lot. So let's get started. When does internal testing begin for chapter 1?
Yeah, we started internal testing yesterday. So now the name of the game is polishing things up. There's still like another feature or two that we're working on, and we're getting stuff in the game. But overall testing has started, and we're uncovering a lot of things. I've been on the team about, hey, we should polish this. We need to add a shadow system, all that kind of stuff. So core systems are there. Contracts are wrapping up. All of that seems like we're on track for like mid to end of October. We're gonna wait for a date, the official date. We do want to get a date out as soon as possible. We'll be as transparent as we can about getting. But again, the thing that we're shipping and like reaching towards is huge. We really think this is going to be extremely unique in the blockchain space, and we think this is like kind of the next generation of blockchain gaming that we're releasing. So, give props to the team for building as quick as they have, and we'll be as transparent as possible and get you guys a date as soon as possible too.
Okay, and then we have 2 questions here that are quite similar. So when will we know exactly what will be wiped and what will be transferred, and which assets will carry over? Coins, crops, fertilizer, energy drinks, cooked foods, etc.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this a few times, but let's reiterate this again too. So special items are going to transfer over. If you want a golden rake, an Easter Bunny statue, a Christmas tree, things like that. Yeah, any of those will transfer over. We might do more special items too. And then what's different about what we're doing is the game that you're going to see is a very different game than what you have hands right now. A one-to-one transfer of a lot of the assets doesn't quite make sense. So most of the inventories will not transfer over. So that means up until the Play-to-airdrop, feel free to spend your assets, spend your coins, buy fertilizer, do any of that. Use all the fertilizer you have. You don't have to feel like you have to stock up on anything. But do note, be tracking your progress again, and the progress that you make will translate into tokens that will be able to kind of get you a head start in the game.
All right, let me head back to our list of questions here.
Oh, one more thing on that too. So all of you customizing your land right now who are decking it out, building it out, we have a solution for that. That land will not completely disappear. So don't worry about that. If you have spent a lot of time making your farmland look really nice and pretty, we have a cool solution for that.
It's really cool. I saw it this morning. It was really exciting. Okay, how will the pixel token be earned after the release of chapter 1?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we talked about that in that monologue, but essentially we want to reward usage for land. And we want to give benefits to owning land. So it's going to be distributed through that mechanism of looking at how often your land is farmed, and also giving you the ability to purchase better discoverability for your farm.
Okay, will traits from NFTs be reflected in the start of chapter 1 and have utility?
Yep, that's all coming. So space, water, land all look different. You'll only be able to place certain items on certain types of land. Like certain crops might only grow on certain types of land. And with this whole update of industries as well too, there'll be like pretty limited industries that you can place on different types of land as well too. So they visually look different. There's different utility, and then a lot of the industries traits will have their own utility in the land. So things like the coop, silo, etc., like that will be the only way to get certain resources in the game. Like the coop is the only way to get eggs and stuff in the game.
Have we talked about industries?
Yeah, we've talked about industries. Industries essentially are new things that you'll be able to place in your land that generate more resources of a certain type. You'll be able to upgrade them and also level up the industries specifically. So your land in the future will also have levels on it. So your player levels, but your land will also have levels that will increase. And if you transfer the land, those levels will transfer too. So that's something that you can kind of put into the land that will always stay there. And these levels will allow you to buy additional industries that are even more productive or produce even more unique goods. So a lot of the game that we're going to be releasing in chapter 1 is all about resource management and development. You're going to kind of have to go like farm to farm to get all the resources that you need to build and customize your farm in the way that you want, or get the upgrades or nodes that you want to. So essentially, only one farm or only farming on one farm probably won't get you all the stuff that you need. You're going to have to visit other places. You're going to have to collaborate with other people and kind of work together to build really cool things.
All right. Will some community members be QA testing chapter 1?
Yeah, that's something we need to decide. I think we should do that. We haven't put in a place for that yet, but I think like a week or two of bringing the community on will help a lot. So we do have our own QA team that we use. QA is interesting, right? Because we want to be very direct about it. We want to get people like doing a regression testing. We want to get people to do exploratory testing. We want like a tight process around that. So a really dedicated team who know how to do that. But then also there's obviously benefits to load testing and doing all that too. So we'll probably open it up a couple weeks before
Well,
the
they were
release.
definitely load testing today. Did you see that?
Yeah, I think we had what, like
It was almost
900?
900. Yeah. I loved it. It was awesome. Okay. When will we know the launch date for chapter 1?
Yeah, we're working on getting that as soon as possible. The thing is, we don't want to say a date and then push it back. So we want to be like 100% confident in that date. So we're getting there. We need that with the other partners, the TGE events and stuff too. Believe me, if I could tell you this right now, I would. I'm really pushing our team to push and ship quick. The pressure's on. They feel it internally. We have an internal date, but I don't want to. Basically, I don't want to lie to you guys and tell you the wrong date. So I want to make sure we're 100% on it when I say it. So when we say the date, you guys are going to know that's the date. And that's when you can expect it.
Okay. Any talk about tokenomics and alpha about the airdrop?
Yeah, I think that monologue might have went over it. If we should go into more details, then we can
Yeah,
also
ask some
check
more
the white
specific
papers.
questions. Okay. So when will the game be internally shipped? So we already talked about that. We're already there. We're already on it. Yesterday. Any talk about upcoming leveling system? You kind of mentioned it a few times already. So any more details you want to share with that?
Yeah, I mean, so there's going to be two systems, right? Your player will be able to level up, and then your farm will be able to level up too. So the farm levels up based on anybody using it. It's a collective level up. So the more people that come to your farm, the faster it will level up, and your own individual skill also affects what you're able to gather yourself and what you need help from others to gather.
Okay. Will there be any new quests in the near future? Sooner
Yes.
than you know.
Yes. We're prepping one right now.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
going to be pretty fun. One of our community members actually helped us with it, so we're pretty excited about it. Levendi.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah,
Okay.
bug him for a leak.
Will there be an alpha test for the iOS/slash Android app?
Yeah, so what we're doing right now is we're actually raising a round of funding. Another venture capital. We're going to be doing a priced round. We're very excited about it. It seems very competitive, which is good. And that's going to kind of be where some of those funds are getting used for then. So making sure that we work on mobile. We're debating what we want to do with mobile, if we just want to make it a browser experience or if we want to do a native iOS app. I really, really like in browser if we make it nice and seamless. So that's kind of going to probably be the steps we go. Make sure that it works in browser and then see if we need a native port.
Can Luke tell us about the staking and liquidity pools?
Yeah, so we have a market maker for the launch of the token. That's the big thing that most other collections here actually don't have and won't get. So that's the thing that we're excited for. Working with like a really, really large market maker. That's not an easy thing to get. That's the thing that's the value out of VC essentially. You know, we have heavy KYC that we had to do with raising venture capital initially to a level that none of these other projects get. You know, we're actually building something with utility. Our token's not a security, it's for the game. There's just so many levels of diligence that we have because of being venture backed earlier, where we get partners like that to facilitate all of that too. So the issues that you see with other gaming ecosystems or other token ecosystems, there's like no liquidity, is one, you have to think about it from just like a logical perspective, like who really wants some of these tokens from these NFT projects? Like, okay, a whitelist sign up or anything like that. Like there's really not utility behind a lot of these tokens that are facing issues. And then two, they don't have the partners that we have. What else do you got for us, Heidi? Oh no. All right, looks like Heidi's internet might be going out. Let me see what other questions we have. Okay, sweet. What can be internally shipped? Will farming have a separated level from crafting and mining? So yeah, there's gonna be different categories of levels. So yes, farming will have a separated level from crafting and mining. We're kind of going with the RuneScape UI for a lot of our leveling. Um, I used to play RuneScape growing up. I was an addict. I had I had way too many hours in the RuneScape, so I love taking inspiration from that game as much as possible. I think their leveling system's coded, and we're gonna take a lot of inspiration from that. When at the end of the airdrop or the play to airdrop specifically. So the end of the play to airdrop will be a week before the launch. Again, we're going to kind of I keep calling it the Salem witch trials. Maybe that's not the best. The Salem bot trials. That's going to be a really hectic week, but it's just going to be one that we have to do. We're going to close the play to airdrop. It'll be an awesome, fun event. And then we're going to do the purge. We're going to purge out bots. Some accounts might get flagged as a false positive.
Hey everyone, this is Heidi. I am just editing this audio. Obviously, we cut out and had some technical issues, so I will throw in the second clip right here.
Hey guys, sorry about that. We'll just give people a second to come back in. All right, we're gonna give this one more second to come back. I've taken over as host. We'll send this link in the Discord right now too. Okay, looks like Eldenero posted it in the Discord. Thank you for that. Yeah, we got rugged. We got rugged. No problem though. So we'll just give it a second. But we got a ton of good content in either way. Even if we got rugged. So yeah, Heidi just didn't want me to leak. That was her way of protecting the leak. Oh yeah, so we were talking about bots. Yeah, I maybe the bots are scared. The people botting are scared now.
My bad,
But
guys. I'm
yeah,
sorry. If I'm being totally honest with you, I am in Mexico and I am in a courtyard in my hotel. And for some reason, Wi-Fi decided to cut out on me. But we're back. We're going.
fully
Luke,
remote.
keep going. Yeah, fully
Yeah,
remote.
it's funny. Yeah, for those of you who don't know my background, I used to be like a pretty extreme digital nomad. I digital nomaded when like living on sailboats, like the bush of Kenya, all of that. So that's part of the company culture. I personally think that traveling and working is the best way to combat burnout. It's like, if I work a 12-hour day, but I'm in Fiji, I'm pretty happy still. If I get like 10 minutes on the beach, that's good enough for me.
I love that
Um,
you say you used to be a digital nomad.
I have a lease now. I was super afraid to have a lease for a really long time. But no, I'm actually settled in Los Angeles now. So if any of our communities in Los Angeles, let me know and maybe we can meet up eventually. But to get back to the last question, we were talking about what we're gonna do with the bots. I was the Salem bot trials. That's what I keep calling it, or the purge. Yes, we're working with a few other partners. We have a couple of different ways that we plan about going on detecting bots. One of the ways that we're planning on detecting it is some off-chain and some on-chain activity. We're actually working with a company called Jigger also, so I'll shout them out because I think what they're building is some of the coolest tech in the space right now. You guys might have seen um, this tweet go viral like a week or two ago about this report that said 60% of play-to-earn players are bots. And Jigger is actually the company that came out with that report. I don't think their company was getting shared for those tweets, unfortunately. But if you guys saw those petri-like dishes, those petri dishes of networks of different like users on chain and networks of different wallets, they have really really interesting ways to detect bots, and they're going to be one of our partners to do that. We also have some interest to figure this out too. So essentially, how this purge is going to work, how the Salem bot trials is going to work, is we're going to close off the play to airdrop 1 week before the airdrop is going to happen. We are going to tell everybody who we flagged, hey, we flagged you as a bot. You'll have 1 week to appeal, and if your appeal doesn't go through, you're not going to get the airdrop. So again, it's really important for a healthy token economy that the token is going to real and real people who care about what we're doing. Okay, let me go through some more questions. What time frame are we looking at for mobile support? Yeah, so realistically, if we do mobile, well, not if, when we do mobile support, it's going to be after our fundraise. Again, we are about to raise a price round. We're very excited about that. If you have any interest, let us know. Um, you're in a strong position when you start getting cold reach out from VCs again. And yeah, we're seeing a lot of cold reach out around this round. So we're feeling pretty confident about that. That funding will unlock a bunch of different ways that we can grow. We can onboard more projects into this Pixel token ecosystem. And we can also focus on mobile support too, so reaching wider audiences. So just that alone, um, that's some big alpha too. I guess, right? The meta is VC backed meta. We're about to raise another round of VC. So yeah, expect that probably before end of year if we close this round in the time that we want to. What are the benefits between different land types? Land, sea, space. Yeah, so different land types will be able to harvest different resources and access different different industries. And because there are a lot less of certain land, that means these resources will inherently be much more rare. And it'll be cool to some of these more rare resources and like pretty crucial or really awesome recipes too.
Do you want me to be asking questions again? Can you hear me properly?
Yeah. Why don't you go? Yeah,
Okay.
I like the back and forth.
Okay.
So
yeah, me too. Okay. So you just talked about land type and all of that, right? So okay, when will we get more information about land types, properties, etc.? For example, right now, it is tough to tell if it's better to buy space land, which is empty, or regular land, which is loaded. We definitely talked about all of these things so far. So I guess if you have any more specific questions, feel free to, update and tag the community team in those questions.
So also for some of this stuff too, like we're just gonna have to see how the meta develops. It's kind of fun to see how people end up playing a game. We're giving you rules, we're giving you different ways that you can do this, and it's really gonna be up to the players to see how all of this stuff goes and what actually is the most useful kind of stuff.
Okay, next question here. I like this one. This is kind of a thought, like a thinking one. Where do you see Pixels in 5 years?
Yeah, I see us as powering as many games on the blockchain as possible. I see us going in kind of an Epic route, Epic Games route, where we're not only building tooling, we're building our own game, right? But then we're also building out tooling and infrastructure for other games. I love the Epic model. I respect that company so much and what they're doing with that. I think the Web3 Epic, essentially building awesome games. I use really hard to build tech and then giving that tech out to companies as well too, with Epic and Unreal Engine, what they do there.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay. Will the players who played before the release get a badge or limited edition clothing or something to show off?
Yeah, 100%. That's like the awesome fun thing about NFTs.
Okay. Just wanted to know, if you own New Cyber land, will it count as the same as owning actual Pixels land?
Yeah, so that's one interesting thing that we're gonna have to think about and discuss with potential partner projects as we decide how we distribute the Pixel token when it's being distributed in game. I think long term, we probably want to distribute it to anybody who's using this ecosystem in the same way, but we also need to respect people who have purchased the Pixel specific land too. So as New Cyber develops and builds out more and more users, that's a conversation that we'll have. And that's why we want to move more to a DAO-like structure anyways, because we want people who hold the token to have say over where it goes in that kind of sense. And that just puts the pressure off us to like favor one project or another in the long term. But short term, the people of the Pixels community have really, really helped us bootstrap this. They have helped us get us there, and they do deserve to be rewarded like that as well too. So long term, that's why we keep saying we want to move the distribution of the Pixel token into more of a DAO, so that people actually involved in this ecosystem who hold these tokens will get to say in how it's distributed. And that'll be like, it'll still probably be something along usage as well too. So usage of New Cyberland, usage of all of that. But New Cyber and Gridcraft, they both have their own forms of staking and their own forms of rewarding their own landowners too. So you have to keep that in mind as well. And that's kind of the cool thing about it. They get to kind of decide their own economics, and they get to decide how to reward their users as well.
Okay. Will the historical land be multiplayer or just original landowner? Collections, will collections still be able to use their community land for events?
Yeah, so it'll be read only, but I think still multiplayer. If the tech's not set up to be multiplayer, I want to make sure that it is. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be multiplayer, but yeah, we'll make that a requirement. So that's the use case I wanted to account for as well too. I know some people have done some really cool stuff with their land. We love that. Like we want you using all of your stuff. So the idea is we want to make it read only, and we'll remove all things like soil or anything that affects game loops from it as well.
Yeah, and to reiterate, you guys have done some really amazing stuff on those lands right now, but you're also going to have a new land to design out. So it's like double. Okay, let me see if there's more questions in here. Is watering plants going to be required in chapter 1?
Yeah, there's a lot of balance coming with farming and all that too. So right now, we truthfully haven't balanced the game that well. Like you guys know it, and you guys can see it. Like everybody farms carrots because that just gives you the most XP. What we aim to achieve in chapter 1 is we want to make sure that the choices feel about a similar thing, or you need to strategize in a way to choose the best crop, not just for XP maximization, but for other things too. So we want to. That's the whole thing. We want to give you guys like we want to make you guys have to debate like what you have to do. Like that's part of the game where it's like I have decisions I need to make, and these decisions are tough ones, and it's like you might have to make some sacrifices going one way or the other. That's the ideal situation. So watering plants is part of the balance, and that's also part of the ways. That's one of the ways we can control an influx of resources into the ecosystem. As we attempt to balance the actual faucets of the game, we think a lot about like how hard is it to farm a crop, how much effort does this take, and all of that. So that goes into it.
Okay, next question. How much are you hoping to raise this round?
Undisclosed right now. We are raising. I guess I am so stupidly transparent sometimes, but it doesn't hurt to say this. I think we're in a strong enough position where I think transparency is honestly how you get stronger. So we're trying to raise anywhere from like in between a seed and an A round. We're not quite at A metrics, but we still have extremely strong conviction and proof behind what we're doing. And the team alone speaks pretty strongly of what we're done. The team that we have speaks pretty strongly too. So the amount of experience this team brings, the early traction we've seen, and the play of infrastructure as well has been very attractive to investors. So we're not quite at A metrics that some companies get. If we waited till after the token drop, probably could raise an A. But the idea is now's the time to do it. We're in a strong position. We have a lot coming out. We might as well just go for it now. And I'm not like a valuation hawk either. I'm way more a believer of value add and getting people to have skin in the game too. So that's kind of what we're looking for when we come to raise. It's not so much about the money. It's more about what does this investor really bring to the table? How are they able to get us to the next level? How does this investor help us get to that 5-year plan that we were talking about? And if they're not going to bring anything to the table besides money, we don't want their money. Like we don't really even need a raise. We could just go with this token launch and just do that. We're pretty confident in this token launch given this early traction that we've had. So really fundraising right now, it's all about value add and it's all about timing. We want the value add now. We don't want the value add we don't want the value add in like 6 months. We think we're at the position where if we bring on the right people, we can expand and accelerate in ways that will blow this up and get this to be that long-term vision even quicker, where we don't want to wait. It's the time to do it now. And yeah, we're pretty excited about it.
Okay, so next question. Is it allowed to have multiple accounts if they are not bots?
It's allowed. It doesn't really benefit you though. Even like a power use of found, there's really not a benefit to botting to multiple accounts. Like you'll get a few more points from the quest and such, but it wouldn't be a difference maker. I don't think it's really worth your time to even have multiple accounts. But yeah, the multiple accounts thing is nice when we're talking about like if you have land on the ledger or if you have land in other areas. Like how we track the land ownership points is we track it day by day. So if you move accounts between wallets, you're going to end up with the same amount of points either way. If it's in one wallet or 100 wallets, cumulatively, you'll have the same amount of points.
Will the Pixels Tools site be integrated into the dashboard? You know what they're talking about, the site that Dion built?
Honestly, I'm down to add a link to it. I think that we number one, all the community generated content over the last 2 weeks has been awesome. We love seeing that. We love seeing the threads that you guys have been making. We love you. We love you guys have been helping other users like onboard and stuff like that too. So, this is maybe one thing I want to address because this is a really important point. I have seen people that are a bit confused on why we're rewarding sharing and so much like that too. And I really want to drive home this point. If we want to make something great together, guys, we need more people to see this project. We need people to get in on here. So helping new users, sharing this with other people, and really rewarding that, that's going to create a much bigger pie for all of us. We don't want, if we only have 5,000 people playing this game, or if we only had a 2,000 DAU, and we didn't try to grow, we didn't try to incentivize anybody else to come into here, none of us are going to succeed. The whole idea is we want to create as big of a pie as possible. So don't be greedy, don't be selfish. Go out and share, help new people. We're all going to win if we do that.
Yeah, so this question is actually kind of perfect timing. How will the current users be brought along for the growth Luke is describing? Will there be more land sales for other games, or will there continue to be airdrops, or finding creative ways to bring active community/landowners along for the ride?
Yeah, guys, this is why I'm so obsessed with this token and the idea of a network effect behind this token too. You guys are going to get a lot of this token that we're dropping in Pixel, and we're trying to create a whole empire that uses this token essentially. We want to create a network effect of other games that use this token, and you guys are going to be initial holders. You guys are going to be here early. Since you guys have believed in this project early, being here early gets you to be a part of this much greater ecosystem in a way that future projects won't get to be. So part of why I'm obsessed with the token. Two, the other thing that we're trying to do is we want to make some elements of free to play possible as well. So that's a part of the new system as well. The free to play aspect is pretty important because you're right. We don't want. I've always hated the ridiculous entry point of play to earn games. I really really hated Axie Infinity initially. The fact that it cost like $600 to play, and then what I hated even more was guilds filling that space. We get approached by these NFT companies a lot. I personally don't like that. I don't love staking. These are my hard opinions, maybe controversial. I don't love staking. I don't love renting. I really think most of these problems are actually game design problems, and renting and staking they're band-aid solutions that aren't really fixing the root of the problem. So the idea is you want new players to be able to play the game. You want it to be approachable. You also want to keep value of land potentially, or you want people who have held land to feel like they're being valued more so. That it's not about floor price. It's about making people who were here early feel like they're valued. That's the important thing, and then making the game accessible early on too. So maintaining both of those things are a huge thing, and that's game design that comes into play. So we want to do a free to play aspect that does involve. I think we've shared it, but really laughably small specs. They're single player only, but it gives some players this place so they can call their own. They can get some customizables, and then we have a progression through the game for new players too, where they can get some larger and larger pieces of land. They don't get access to a lot of the mechanics the landowners will get access to, and they'll have to come to land in order to get a lot of the crucial resources that they need.
Okay. Are there plans to implement a notepad in game? I'm kind of curious what you want to use that for.
Oh, I think
because I feel like we might be solving that problem in another way.
Are you talking about the mailbox?
I'm not sure. They said notepad.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about keeping track of where you farmed and all of that.
Oh yeah,
that's what I would use the notepad for. So that's why I'm curious what they would use it for.
We also have a mailbox that we're going to be implementing into the game too. So I think that also kind of plays into it. That one, we gotta be really careful with it. Our team is they really really care about creating a safe environment. So the game design team is extremely on top of that. It's funny because I'm a very trusting person, and I'm so glad our game design team is so cynical. Sometimes where they're anytime you leave some kind of message board or anything like that, you gotta be really really careful. So we wanted to do a mailbox where people could leave messages and such, but then my game design team was you're on Web3, this is the internet, how wrong that can go. You need way better moderation tools and stuff like that before that, auto filtering, things like that. So those kinds of things, they seem easy on the surface, but there's so many considerations that you need to go into before give free form content access to a bunch of people. They're even worried about chat. I'm pushing back in the chat, but things like chat bubbles and making that not hideable, it's pretty crucial too. But games like Club Penguin, they fixed it. we don't need necessarily that level of moderation, but
That was me flashback to I might have said the B word one time on Club Penguin and got banned for 24 hours. So, you know. Okay, let's look at the next questions here. Do you plan to expand / scale users and land ownership beyond 5,000 NFTs without diluting NFT value of the original 5K?
yeah, I mean, I think we described our free-to-play strategy a bit. We want to make land very, very central to the gameplay, and we want to make sure that you guys feel like you guys are all being respected. At the end of the day, it's a balance in the game design of attracting new users and making sure that land is crucial in the gameplay. And I think we've figured that out with the free-to-play system that we're doing. Where essentially, we think one of the hooks into the game will be people coming into the game, being able to customize their own space. But then the only way they're going to be able to get the customizations they want are by respecting land ownership. So we're also changing up the tax system a bit. The tax system, how we're doing it, it's no longer going to be subtractive, it's going to be additive. So taxes will, instead of taking away from a player when they're farming something, the player will still get the resources, but the landowner will just get one too. So that's another change that we're doing to the tax system. And then also the pixel token, again, will be distributed based on usage of land. So these players are going to have to come to your different pieces of land in order to get resources they need. You're going to get rewarded when they come to your land.
Okay, can Luke go more into the logic of not multi-accounting? Is the amount of tokens received by the better ranking much? And can you just go into that a little bit more? Why there's no point in having multiple accounts?
So the amount of tokens that you're getting, it's point dependent, not rank dependent. We weren't going to give a point bonus for rank, but like the top ranks might like a special item or things like that. So there's fun ways that we can play around with that. I think some people did, when we did the golden rake thing in the play limit, they might have made a couple of accounts to get like multiple golden rakes. That one's a hard one to stop. Honestly, full transparency, if you put that much time into getting that high up there, then that's something that you might deserve.
I don't know how that's even possible.
Yeah, I think that there is a possibility that somebody could split up if they're like a huge whale, split up their land into multiple wallets to get like two of the same item. But that sounds like a lot of work. Not really, but
yeah, I don't really see it being possible.
There's not that many whales where that would be a huge issue, but yeah, it's something we need to think about. And then the people grinding are getting people to join to loot the long-term landowners. So yeah, landowners, this is a conversation that we need to have. Again, you guys are extremely valuable to this ecosystem, but the only way that this project has any value in the long term is we have other people in this ecosystem besides just the landowners. So that's why we're valuing players and valuing sharers as much as you guys. And believe me, like, we are in the same boat as you guys, you landowners, right? Again, Pixels, we own a lot of these NFTs. And then two, we're trying to create a very valuable ecosystem for everybody too. We want people to love this game. We want people to see this game. And we plan on monetizing off of the token eventually as well. So we need other people in this ecosystem, and we need people to be playing the game. So you guys are here. You guys are benefiting just by holding land. But the long term of this ecosystem really depends on people playing the game and being involved in this. And if people aren't playing the game, then there's no value in any of this. We're going to go to zero if people don't like it.
Okay, next question. If the raise is not important to the token drop, does that mean the raise has no implication on the original liquidity input into the token?
Mm-hmm. How much transparency should I give in this? The interesting thing is the investors aren't as interested in the token as other people. So there's just like a bearish resentment in the VC world about tokens. We'll probably add token warrants to it. There will be lockups. The lockups that we have are like honestly standard lockups over a year, invested lockups as well too for any party involved. So with market makers, all of that, there might be concern times that they're going to trade the token or dump the token. All these partners that we have they have vested interest in this token. They get it at a strike price, and they don't get the unlock or the token for over a year. So yeah, year-long lockups. They have vested interest in the token as well. That's the typical deal with all of this. So we got very favorable terms for partner that we're working with in terms of the token drop, just because it's so clear this token is not a security. It's like pretty low risk, and I see that there's a lot of utility behind it, where they have vested interest and they are locked up for a while.
Yeah, so the next question is related. How long do you plan to track out the vesting schedule? And do you have any theoretical info on the distribution between VCs and the 20K wallets?
Yeah, so those are the numbers that we're trying to solidify. So I actually don't have info because that's the number that we're trying to figure out. So that will be transparent when we figure out that number in that ratio. But at the end of the day, like you guys are the important part to all of this. If you guys aren't happy, if you guys don't feel respected, and if the players are getting shafted, this ecosystem is going to crumble. And I think all parties here know that. Like really, the players have the power in this situation, which is great. That's exactly the awesome part about Web3, right? If the players aren't there, you guys really hold the cards. So we know that, we recognize that, and it's going to be heavily considered when we're coming up with all those numbers. I'm personally not greedy. I'm personally not somebody who really cares about all that kind of stuff. So we're going to make sure that we're going to focus on the project's long-term success, essentially, when it comes to allocating.
Okay, I seem to have misplaced the question, but they were asking about us adding more worldwide servers.
Yeah, so we're actually, one of my tasks this week is to focus on translations. Oh, and then the other thing is ping for certain locations as well. Yeah, that probably is something we're going to have to address ASAP. The team's been so busy. I'm trying not to distract them when we have something that works right now. So one, translations, that's a personal thing that I'm working on this week. I want to make sure that we have at least a couple languages translated now. Apparently our system is in place where if we literally just get the translations done, they're going to be hooked up automatically. We already have all the tech behind the translations. That's why some of you guys saw that ugly UI when we released the Quest, because those were translations into English already. So our English translations, I use that translation system already. Every single piece of text has that. And then in terms of ping, yeah, we need to set up more servers in other locations. That's something that the team will look into. I'm going to try to prioritize it, but that's one of those things that might get pushed back slightly after launch too. The name of the game for the next month and a half, I keep saying this word in AMAs, is ruthless prioritization. We have to be really, really focused on delivering a game, and there's so many different things that we can work out. The servers are one thing that we might just pour a bit more money into early on. Our server costs aren't that expensive, so that might be just something that we raise CPU or raise memory available, things like that.
Okay, and last question. Will friends list / private message a feature in chapter 1? You already kind of talked about this.
On the release, no, but that probably is something that we'll be focused on after the release. So chapter 1, that's the release of chapter 1 is the date of the blockchain backed beta. That's going to be after the play to earn, or after the play to airdrop, all of that. But we're not going to stop supporting chapter 1. We're going to work up towards chapter 2. So we'll have features that are going to be shipping probably every 2 weeks. We'll get on a regular release cadence, be very agile after the release of chapter 1. So you'll get regular updates. We'll also be working on features for chapter 2 as well. So chapter 2, we talked about that in previous AMAs. Chapter 2, we want to focus on a lot of social features. So we want to kind of include guilds. We want to make sure that guilds are more valuable, more necessary in the gameplay, and we want to focus on all of that type of social play.
Okay, actually, I just see one more question from like a new user, which might be something good to address. What is getting airdropped when it is released? Which token?
Yeah, it'll be a combination of both of the tokens, Pixel and Berry, and then probably other in-game items too. I haven't figured out what in-game items we're going to give you guys, but yeah, that's just a fun thing that we can do. Like you earn a certain badge, you get an item. Why not? It's so easy for us.
Okay, and that wraps up this AMA. Thank you all for coming out. I'm sorry for completely rugging us halfway through, but here we are. If you have any more questions, we'd love to hear them. Please post them in our general chat on Discord and tag the community team or Luke or myself, Heidi, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. And yeah, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for the amazing questions, and we are so excited for the future of this project.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.